morning, Lochismo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Please like, subscribe, share this video if you found it helpful. Give it a thumbs up. Pass it on if you believe someone else will benefit from it. I would appreciate that. Empaths, chosen ones, stop trying to resolve conflicts that you didn't create. I know our empathic nature is to not want to see chaos. We like to see chaos resolve relatively quick. Not that it doesn't happen, because we deal in it with the world with a lot of personalities, a lot of traumas, a lot of undealt with issues of the psyche. You know, you never know what a person is going through. You never know where they're at in their life, just on the surface. A lot of times in empaths and chosen ones awakened, we can see some things that people don't talk about, that they don't specifically or particularly think we see or we sense or perceive. But we're talking in general. We must resist the urge to resolve conflicts we didn't create. A lot of these conflicts, you, with whatever intentions you may have, noble as they may be, you find yourself in the middle of it, and a lot of times you find yourself as being the victim of it. And this is not to say to just turn off your concern or your caring for anybody who's going through something. That's not what we're talking about. If you have been called by God to do a certain thing, He'll lead you, He will direct you, and your compassion will be in check, and it won't be reckless. It won't be trigger happy to fix like you did before. So be able to stand back, see these chaotic situations, whether they're small or large or extreme. You have to take a moment and to see where you fit into that equation. And a lot of times some chaoses are just meant to be. They have to be the way they are, because chaos has a beautiful way of bringing a person to a point where they realize that there's some change needs to be made. And it brings a person to a point where consequence is fully realized. And so as a result of that chaos, a lot of times people come out on the other side better than they were before. And a lot of times this is the chaos that's needed to turn to God. I know it doesn't sound good for me to say that, but we're living in a reality that we can no longer pretend that things are not happening. A lot of people have turned their back on God. A lot of people who know God don't rely on God when things start hitting the fan. Myself included, because emotions is what drives a lot of us. Impulse, knee-jerk reactions. And this is why when a person says stay prayed up, that is an understatement, man. When you're walking through a land full of piranhas, parasites that want to hitch a ride with good souls without paying their bus fare, you really have to be on point spiritually. And so I know in times past I've gotten myself involved in a lot of chaotic situations, and I think we all have here or there, not knowing that it was going to turn into something that you didn't expect. You know, you're looking back at it and you're like, wow. And a lot of times you say, I learned my lesson from that. I'll never do that again. Never say never, but I get it. So the principal point here is just to kind of recognize some of the chaos that we in times past tried to resolve, and just know that that chaos may not be our calling. It may not be our call to intervene. Like I said on the last video, you know, learn to observe rather than absorb. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing in life. Even in family structures, family units is where this is more prevalent. You might have one sibling that you favor in a way that, unlike you favor the other one, it's not so much favoritism. You may favor one particular sibling as to being the cool head, and because they're the cool head and the chaotic one is aggressing the cool head, you feel a need to jump in and referee. Sometimes your casual silence mediates enough, because what your silence does in that chaotic situation, it undeniably causes both parties to see that you're neutral. You're not taking sides, and there'll be a moment or a time or a situation where one or the other or both siblings may require, or they may insist on you having an opinion or giving your take on it. And again, if it's not your chaos, sometimes it's not your chaos to solve. A lot of times you just have to be silent and observe, because at the end of the day, you'll end up being the one that they direct the hostility and the chaos towards. I won't say that there's a foolproof way to quell or diffuse chaos in any given situation, but I know your silence speaks volumes in many ways, in many situations, because a lot of times chaos is looking for you to institute your opinion or your side, because that gives them momentum to feel justified in what they're doing, because a lot of times chaos needs a sounding board. Chaos needs an audience. And when you shut the door on your participation, that forces chaos to have to figure it out. That forces chaos to have to look at themselves if they choose to. It's a matter of choice. So a lot of these siblings in these family units are in disarray because of this, because a third party, specifically or particularly a chosen one, intervened, and your aura alone speaks truth. And so when you do intervene, your truth is taken like vinegar in a wound or salt in a wound, even though you might have been asked to give your perspective, and you may be the voice of reason. Sound advice. But sometimes and most often, chaos is not ready to hear truth. It doesn't want sound advice. Sometimes chaos just wants to run its course to see how much attention it can get, see how much fanfare it can get, see how many likes it can get. So just be reminded, guys, that you don't have to resolve chaos many times. And many times it's not the chaos that you should be trying to resolve. Hope everybody is doing well. Continue to elevate your vibration. Continue to educate yourself about such things as dark energy, and most of all, continue to just stay in God's presence and keep meditating and educating yourself on God's word, so you can be led. You be led by the Spirit and not by your flesh. That being said, bless.